Hey guys, I'm in Mexico right now, and for those who actually want substance to this vlog, I'll be showing you all the cool stuff in Mexico. This is the official vlog for everything that I'm doing here, but for those who don't really care about what I'm doing, I'm also going to be showing you guys the history, religious stuff about what they were doing back in the day, all their weird things, and culture of Mexico, talking about religion, God, everything else, all this other stuff going on all at the same time, and how Mexico can be saved for Jesus. It's gonna be pretty cool. I'm gonna show you some cool stuff that happened, some encounters, some evangelism in Mexico. But yes, hope you guys enjoyed, and let's get right to it. Hey guys, I imagine that the intro was very, very epic. Look. We have a grandmother, unnamed, great-grandmother that we're seeing. She's a Seventh-day Adventist. We got the notes, guys. What do they think about divine authority? What do they believe about Jesus, salvation? What do they think about hell? Guys, start your day off just recognizing God, being desperate for Jesus, actually desperate, where I need you, God. Before I start yapping, let's go. The travel. It was actually my first time outside the US, but it was super fun. So yeah, we woke up super early, went to the airport, went to Miami first, then to Mexico. A lot of crazy stuff happened. If we're gonna fast forward to the end of the trip, and we actually went back after going to Mexico, my whole luggage burned up and blew up. Here's a picture. We did not get any compensation for it. It's 4:12 in the morning. I had a plan. I have tracks. This is my mission field. This is my mission trip, unofficial. I have English ones that I'm gonna pass out at the airport right now, at this down period where everyone's waiting. I'll just come up to them and be like, hey, I've been giving these out as souvenirs on your trip. They don't want it, they don't want it. Who cares? Might as well try, right? And then, this is the big mama jama. Oh my gosh. I got racks. These are Spanish dollar bill tracks. They have the whole gospel in Spanish for Mexico. Guys, the lore is literally building. I went around, I passed almost like 99.9% of the tracks. I only have one left from people, but I met someone who goes to the Crossing Church, which is literally like right next to our church, Arise Church in the area, and met him. His name's Tim. He was very nice. We got to pray together. Just one of those cool moments where you get to see another believer in your area too. Going somewhere. He's going to Canada for something. The paper's like plastic. It's like rubbery and weird. Laminated, it feels like. But let's go back to it. The history of Mexico is pretty epic. So in the pre-Columbian era, the term pre-Columbian essentially means the time before significant European influence and colonization started to begin in that area in the Western Hemisphere. This is basically a large ancient portion of time. So before the Spanish conquest, Mexico was home to numerous indigenous civilizations, including the Aztecs and the Mayans, who practiced polytheistic religions. These religions had rituals, ceremonies, and human sacrifices to appease their gods. Now these gods, in fact, are demons, or they're just fake, as there can't be multiple all-powerful beings or being related to one thing like the sun or moon, because whatever made the universe had to make everything in it, and has to be the God of everything it made. Also, the Bible talks about idols being deaf, dumb, and blind, and being demonic.
Permiso, yo tengo un regalo para usted. No es verdad. Yeah. De nada.
Look, so this is the tarot card stuff. This is where it's at. So this is the main part of the city?
Yeah, this is the famous part where the president comes and he has to address
to the nation? Yeah, look. Look, this is the demonic, like the dances. Oh, look, they're burning incense. They're literally doing a ritual, like with incense and stuff, shaking them. You see that?
They're literally...
And they have the stuff. All the witchcraft stuff. Yeah. Yeah, so I rebuke that in the name of Jesus. What are they doing? That's so goofy.
Permiso, señor. Yo tengo un regalo para usted. No es verdad, no es verdad. Muchas gracias. Yeah. Gracias. De nada. if they could be bold in their beliefs and basically be evangelists out in the streets, I think we can too. Very easily. Look at all this.
The next thing is the Spanish conquest, 1519 to 1521, roughly. The Spanish conquest of Mexico began in 1519 when Hernán Cortés landed on the coast and eventually overthrew the Aztec Empire in 1521. The Spanish brought with them Catholicism, which became a tool of both spiritual conversion and colonial control, which is not right because it's not right to control and abuse people. But the morals did help change the culture, and God could still move even in bad circumstances. Now, the colonial period is 1521 to 1821. During the colonial period, the Catholic Church played a central role in Mexican society. The Spanish crown and the church worked together to convert the indigenous population to Christianity, often by force. The church established missions and schools, exerting significant influence over education and social norms. Indigenous religious practices were suppressed, and many pre-Columbian religious sites were destroyed or repurposed as churches. The story of the Virgin of Guadalupe begins in December 1531, when a Mexican indigenous man named Juan Diego experienced a vision of the Virgin Mary on the hill of Tepeyac near Mexico City. The Virgin Mary, who appeared as a dark-skinned woman and spoke to Juan Diego in his native Nahuatl language, asked him to build a church in her honor at that site. Juan Diego reported the vision to the local bishop, Juan de Zumarraga, who demanded a sign to prove the authenticity of the apparition. On December 12, 1531, the Virgin appeared to Juan Diego again and instructed him to gather flowers from the hilltop. Even though it was winter and flowers were not in season, he found Castilian roses, which were not native to Mexico, growing there. He gathered them in his tilma, which is a cloak, and took them to the bishop. When Juan Diego opened his tilma to show the flowers, an image of the Virgin Mary was miraculously imprinted on the fabric. The bishop then believed Juan Diego and ordered the construction of a church on the hill of Tepeyac. The tilma with the image of the Virgin of Guadalupe is now displayed in the Basilica of Our Lady of Guadalupe, one of the most visited Catholic pilgrimage sites in the world. The Virgin of Guadalupe is a sign of Mexican identity and faith, and she is celebrated on her feast, December 12th. Really, really weird. Seems like worship. Very demonic, it feels like. We already see that in the Bible it talks about how demons could deceive as angels of light and come in. Now, the other era is the independence in the 19th century, from 1821 to 1910. Mexico gained independence from Spain in 1821. The 19th century was marked by tensions between the church and the state. Liberal reforms in the mid-1800s, particularly under President Benito Juárez, sought to reduce the power of the Catholic Church. The reforming laws led to the nationalization of church property, secularization of education, and separation of church and state. But separation of church and state is so the government doesn't interfere and ruin the church, not the other way around. Mexican Revolution in the 20th century is the next era, from 1910 to 2000. The Mexican Revolution further transformed the relationship between religion and state. The 1917 Constitution included strong anti-clerical provisions, limiting the church's role in public life. This led to the Cristero War in 1926 and 1929, a violent conflict between the government and the Catholic rebels. Over time, the government eased its restrictions, leading to a gradual reconciliation between the state and the church. Now is the modern era, from 2000 to present. Right now, it's 2025 when making this. Today, Mexico is a predominantly Catholic country with over 80% of the population identifying as Catholic. However, there is also significant religious diversity with growing Protestant and other Christian communities. The relationship between the church and state is more balanced, with a clear separation maintained by law, though the church still plays a significant role in cultural and social life. But it's been mixed in with witchcraft, superstition, and idol worship. So they could believe in Jesus, but also believe in other things. They believe, but they don't follow, or they use it as tradition only. It's really just a cultural thing, and it really needs to change. Do not what the skibber. This is probably gonna hurt your face. Oh. Permiso.
Hola.
Yo tengo un regalo para usted. Es no verdad. No verdad.
Es de mentira, fake.
Yeah, sí, sí.
Ok.
Yo entiendo un poquito español.
Ok, gracias.
De nada. Permiso. Yo tengo un regalo para usted.
Sí, dígame.
No verdad, no. Yeah.
Gracias.
De nada. Mi villano favorito 2. Despicable Me.
La nueva de Nicole Kidman.
This is not my favorite villain 2.
A ver, una pregunta.
Ajá.
¿Y ese billete que me dio para qué es? Ese billete que me dio para qué es.
Oh, yo entiendo un poquito español. Para Dios.
Sí, gracias.
Yeah, de
Pero
nada.
No vale.
Huh?
No vale.
Oh, okay.
No vale, ¿verdad?
No.
Es como un dólar, pero
Sí, sí, no verdad, yeah.
es novedad.
Yeah.
Gracias,
Yeah.
que Dios lo bendiga.
Yeah, de nada, de nada.
Yo vendo allá.
Mm-hmm. We're at the airport in Tulum today, and there's so much U.S. lore that has been dropped that I'm missing out on. Today, Biden dropped out of the race, and then Trump got shot while we were in Mexico. So, good times, good times. Now, here's the political stuff and issues in Mexico. Mexico faces significant challenges related to trafficking, poverty, cartels, which are deeply interconnected. Drug cartels contribute to widespread violence and corruption. Poverty, affecting nearly half of Mexico's population, exacerbates these issues by providing a pool of vulnerable individuals who may be drawn into cartel activities out of economic necessity. Out here in the streets, we found kids working and selling, going car to car, and even people washing windshields. Human trafficking, both for sexual exploitation and forced labor, is also a severe problem, often facilitated by the same criminal networks that control drug trafficking. The government struggles to combat these issues due to limited resources, corruption, and the powerful influence of the cartels. So what do we do? Is there any hope for the Mexicans, for us as Americans, for anyone around the world who wants to reach the whole entire world for Jesus? Well, there's some persecution even though Mexico seems to be very religious. Yes, there is religious persecution of Christians in Mexico. Although it's not as widespread or severe as in other countries, the persecution primarily affects evangelical Christians and converts from indigenous or traditional beliefs in certain regions. These Christians may face social ostracism, discrimination, and even violence from their communities. The government has also been criticized for not providing adequate protection to religious minorities in these areas. With criminal organizations such as drug cartels, it also poses a significant threat to Christian leaders and communities, particularly when Christian church activities interfere with their operations. It messes up with their bottom line. Pastors and priests have been targeted for speaking out against criminal activities and refusing to comply with cartel demands. Because when you're dealing with people's hearts, they change their actions, and because of that, they won't be making money. We see this in the Bible when Paul and all these other people are doing their thing in Acts, and they literally convert people to Christianity. God is moving, his presence is changing their hearts where they're not buying or taking these idols from these people making the idols. So they're losing business, these idol makers, and they literally rebel and get mad at Paul because their bottom line is messed up. So what should we do? We should pray. Give aid to these organizations helping out in these countries, and do your part to spread the gospel to those in your culture and race. Fight the wrong beliefs about God in your culture. Now, I love my culture. I love that I was born this way, that God made me Mexican and Puerto Rican, but I cannot say that I agree with everything in my culture, because there's stuff in our culture that's terrible. And I really don't care about my culture that much if it's going against the Bible. So that's something I would ask everyone, encourage everyone to do, is go against those bad things in your culture, those stereotypes or whatever it is. Yeah, I hope you guys like this video. This is just going to be another one of those vlog type videos where I'm trying to help people learn more about what's going on in the world. If you guys want to see any other thing, if you want to see more vlogs, more informational stuff, just comment, hit me up on Instagram, whatever it is. Love you guys. I'll see you guys later, and have a good rest of your day.
Skate to one
Bye.
song only.
They say you know a tree by the fruit.
So I sit back and watch what you bearing. Holy Spirit and gave me the juice. I locked in with the Spirit, I'm pairing. Trying to see what your life like. Say you living for God, so I should see Christ, right? I